For more than a decade, something has been going terribly wrong off the west coast of North America. A mysterious plague has been wiping out one of the ocean's most amazing predators. It's been a baffling marine mystery, one that's pushed scientists to their limits. And in this explainer, we're going to follow the clues and see how they finally cracked the case.
Yeah, you hear quotes like this and it just sends a chill down your spine. When this all started, the descriptions were just apocalyptic. Sea stars would literally melt. Their arms would twist up, break off, and crawl away from their own bodies before the whole animal just dissolved into what people called puddles of goo. It was gruesome, it was shocking, and it was happening on a massive scale.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. Think of it like a detective story. First, we'll visit the crime scene. Then, we'll join the decade-long hunt for the killer. After that, we get the big breakthrough that finally reveals the culprit. And then we'll dig into the incredible fight for recovery that's happening right now. And finally, we'll ask the big question, is it actually working? Okay, so let's start where it all began, back in 2013. The scene of the crime, the victim here, isn't just a beautiful creature. It's the absolute linchpin of its entire coastal world.
I want you to meet the sunflower sea star. Now, this is not your average run-of-the-mill starfish. These things are the largest in the world. They can grow to be the size of a bicycle tire and have up to 24 arms. They're also super fast, for a sea star, and they are the top predator on the reefs. Their health is basically a barometer for the health of the whole ecosystem. Now, get ready for this number because it's just staggering. Since 2013, scientists estimate that this wasting disease has killed as many as 5.75 billion of them. That's a loss of over 90% of their entire population. It was so bad it landed them on the critically endangered list. Just gone.
And when you lose the sea star, it sets off this absolutely devastating domino effect. You see, sunflower sea stars are the main predator of purple sea urchins. So, with the sea stars gone, the urchin population just exploded. We're talking a 10,000% increase in some spots. And these hungry urchins just started eating everything in sight, mowing down entire forests of kelp.
And this is what you're left with. It's what scientists grimly call an urchin barren. These vibrant, amazing underwater forests, places that were once just teeming with life, were turned into these barren moonscapes. It's an underwater wasteland, home to pretty much nothing but millions of spiny, starving urchins. So, the ecosystem is in total collapse. The pressure was on, big time. And that kicked off a frustrating, decade-long search for whatever or whoever was the killer.
The investigation started right away in 2013. For years, the leading theory was that it had to be a virus. But that, it turns out, was a total red herring. The scientific community just kept at it, though, running countless experiments until finally, after more than 10 years of searching, they got their breakthrough. All right, this is the moment. This is when the whole mystery was finally solved. After years of chasing down dead ends, the killer was finally unmasked. So it turns out the culprit wasn't a virus at all. It was a bacterium, Vibrio pectinacida. And get this, here's a wild connection. This pathogen is from the same family of bacteria that causes cholera in humans. Researchers found it in incredibly high amounts in the coalomic fluid, which is basically the blood of a sea star, of the sick and dying animals. But how could they be 100% sure? Well, this is where the classic scientific detective work comes in. First, they isolated the suspect bacteria from 6 stars. Then, they grew it all by itself in the lab. Then came the smoking gun. They exposed perfectly healthy sea stars to this cultured pathogen. And tragically for those stars, they developed the exact same wasting symptoms. The case was closed. And you can just feel the mix of emotions in this quote from Professor Drew Harville. It's this immense relief, but also this kind of strange realization that the answer had been there the whole time, hidden in a common group of bacteria that they had just overlooked. Okay, so identifying the killer, this wasn't just some academic victory. This was a total game changer. For the first time, scientists knew exactly what they were up against. And that meant that all the restoration efforts could become targeted and strategic. The long, long road to recovery could finally begin.
Leading this new charge is a really powerful coalition. You've got groups like the Reef Check Foundation, the Nature Conservancy, and government agencies all teaming up, pooling their resources to launch this ambitious, hands-on restoration project. And their strategy is just so direct and honestly kind of brilliant. They're paying commercial urchin divers, the very people whose jobs were hit hard by the kelp collapse, to go down and physically remove the overgrown purple urchins by hand. The idea is, if you clear out all the grazers, you give the kelp a fighting chance to come back. And look, the data from the Reef Check report shows it's absolutely working. If you look at the chart on the left, at the sites where divers went in and removed urchins, their numbers just plummeted. Meanwhile, at the control sites nearby that they didn't touch, the urchin population stayed dangerously high. It's clear proof that the strategy is making a huge impact. But, clearing out urchins is only one piece of the puzzle. It's kind of a short-term fix. For the ecosystem to really heal itself for the long haul, it needs its top predator back. And that's why, at the same time, this massive effort is underway to breed sunflower sea stars in captivity. It's like a modern-day ark, trying to save the species so it can one day be returned to the wild.
And this isn't happening in some isolated lab. Just look at this list. It's a huge collaborative effort. You've got major aquariums raising awareness, research labs figuring out the best breeding techniques, even frozen zoos saving genetic material. It's this multi-front war to bring this critical species back from the very brink of extinction.
So with the killer identified, urchins getting removed, and baby sea stars growing in labs, the big question is all of this actually turning the tide? What's the verdict? And here it is. This is the payoff. We're looking at those same sites, but now we're looking at the kelp. And the results are just unmistakable. In the areas where they removed the urchins, the kelp forest started to bounce back in a big way. It is the clearest sign of hope we've seen yet. Clear the way, and nature really does start to heal itself. This whole saga is just such a powerful, real-world lesson about this idea of a keystone species. Like the keystone in a stone archway. The sunflower sea star holds the entire structure of the kelp forest together, and the moment it was pulled out, the whole thing just crumbled. So, the mystery is solved. Thanks to the amazing targeted work of groups like the Reef Check Foundation and all those breeding programs, we're seeing real promise. It's a long road, for sure, but the tide might finally be turning. But, and this is the big but, one critical question hangs over all of this. Scientists know that the Vibrio bacteria that caused all this, it thrives in warmer water. So even as we fight to bring back the sea stars and the kelp, the larger threat of climate change is still there. Can we ever truly restore what was lost in an ocean that keeps getting warmer? That's the challenge that lies ahead.